In last few lectures, we've discussed about the problems in commutation in DC machine and the solution to problems of commutation in DC machine. From this lecture onwards, we are going to study about different types of DC motors and generators, and we'll be comparing the performance or we'll be comparing the characteristics of different types of motors, and then we'll subsequently study different types of generators and compare the characteristics of different types of generators. As far as DC motors and generators are concerned, or in general DC machines, we remember that the earliest power systems that were developed, the first commercial power station that was developed was DC power system. But then around 1890s, because of the transformation of voltage and AC power systems were clearly winning over the DC systems, and world over, AC power systems were adopted. Despite the fact that our power systems are AC, till around 1960s, most of the motors that were being used, or most of the motors that were being used in the industries, were DC motors, not AC motors. Though the supply that we received was AC, but the motors that we used in industries were DC motors. What were the reasons that, in spite of the voltage or in spite of the electricity available to us was AC, we are still using DC motors? There are two reasons for the use. There were two reasons for the use of the DC motors. Number one, first reason for the widespread use of DC motors was that DC motors were used in vehicles, aeroplanes, trains, etc. The reason being that in vehicles, in aeroplane, in trains, you have DC power supply available. When you have DC power supply available, which motor will you use? Say, for example, in your cars, you have a DC power supply available. So, which motor will you use in your automatic windows? Obviously, the first choice is DC motor. So, we use DC motors when you had DC supply available, that is in aeroplanes, vehicles, trains. Now, second is in industries. Though in industries you had AC power supply available, but still you prefer to use DC motors. What was the reason? The reason for the use of DC motors in industries was the wide range in speeds available in DC motors. Or in other words, we can simply say that speed control of DC machines was considerably easier. It was very easy to control the speed of DC machines. And in industries, you require machines to operate at variable speeds. For AC machines, it was not possible to operate AC machines at wide range of speeds, whereas for DC machines, it was possible to operate them at wide range of speeds. So, DC motors were preferred in industries. But this was till 1960s. Then what happened in around 1960s? what you call as power electronic revolution. Because of the widespread use of power electronic devices, we'll study about power electronic devices in your higher courses. Because of the widespread use of power electronic devices, now it was possible to change speed of AC machines over a wide range as well. Initially, it was only possible to have wide range of speeds in DC machines, so DC motors were preferred. But now, because of power electronic revolution, it was possible to operate AC motors at wide range of speeds, and supply was available was AC. And because of some other advantage, because of the robustness, the less cost of wear and tear, less maintenance cost, so AC machines started to take over the DC machines. So now, at present, most of the machines in industries are AC machines. Though DC machines are still present in some applications, like you have DC machines available in your handheld devices, like in your trimmers, in small toys. Fine. Okay. Now, how do we compare DC motors? I'll come to the topic. What are the different types of DC motors? First, let me tell you how do we compare different types of DC motors. If you remember in transformers, we compare transformers depending upon the parameter what we called as voltage regulation, where we defined voltage regulation as the change in voltage from no load to full load to the full load voltage. Similarly, we compare DC motors using a parameter. They are compared by their what you call as speed regulation. And how do we define speed regulation? We define speed regulation as no load speed minus full load speed to the full load speed. If you want to have it in percentage, then multiply this by 100, you will get percentage speed regulation. What is this omega no load, omega full load, omega full load? Omega no load is the speed of motor when it's running without any load. So if, for example, you have a motor, you connect this motor to the supply, this motor will start running without connecting any load to the motor. That speed is known as no load speed. Now you put some load on the machine. Say, for example, if this is the motor, initially this motor was running. Now you put some load on the motor. If you put some load on the motor, the speed of motor will increase or decrease. We'll say to it what will happen to this. The common observation is when you put load on the machine, the speed of the machine decreases. Fine, but it's not all the time necessary. It should decrease. We'll come to that. Speed will decrease. So this speed keeps on decreasing. When you put full load on the machine, the rated load on the machine, the speed of the motor at the rated load is known as full load speed. So the ratio of no load speed minus full load speed to the full load speed is known as speed regulation. You can, where omega is in radians per second, or you can write this in revolutions per minute as well. N no load minus N full load divided by N full load into 100, where omega is in radians per second, N is in revolutions per minute. Both are speed, but these are different units. Okay. Now, what are the different types of DC motors? There are 5 major types of DC motors. 5 major types. There are 5 major types of DC motors. I will name them first, then I will draw the schematic diagrams. Number 1, we call this as separately excited DC motor. There's one more type, what you call as shunt DC motor. One more, what you call as permanent magnet DC motor. Fourth one is what you call as series DC motor. Fifth one is what you call as compound DC motor. Separately excited DC motor, shunt DC motor, permanent magnet DC motor, series DC motor, and compound DC motor. All of these 5 types of DC motors are basically classified on the criteria of how the armature and field windings of the DC motor are connected. I will repeat, this classification of DC motors is basically based upon the criteria that how the armature and field windings of the motor are connected. This will get clear with the help of schematic diagrams. Have a look at first one. Separately excited DC motor. Before going into the schematic diagrams of different types of DC motors, let us first have a look of the equivalent circuit of a DC motor. How does a DC motor look like? Equivalent circuit of a DC motor. We already know from our earlier lectures that DC motor basically consists of 2 parts. One is known as the field and another part is known as the armature. A DC motor basically is, you have a rotor structure here, and we have a stator structure here. There's a winding on the stator, such that say this behaves as a north pole, this behaves as a south pole. In addition, there are conductors or windings housed in slots we have finally commutator segments and brushes. This we have already studied. So you have a field winding over here. This field winding will have some voltage connected here, which will supply this. We represent this by where this is resistance are adjustable. This is inductance LF of field winding. This is resistance RF of field winding. This is basically field winding. In order to produce magnetic field, this field winding will have some current. To produce magnetic field, such that this behaves as a north pole, this behaves as a south pole, there will be current flow in this. So for that you will connect a voltage source over here, so current will flow over here. In order to control the strength of this magnetic flux of north and south pole, how we can control the magnetic flux? By varying the current, by adjusting the current. If this voltage connected here is constant, voltage connected here is constant, so how can you adjust the current through this? By using a variable resistance R adjustable. If we increase this resistance, the current flow here will be less. That means current here will be less. Current will be less, so flux will be less. This is how you adjust flux, field flux here. In addition, this winding, this wire, field winding, this will have a resistance that you call as RF, field resistance. Also, this RF, this winding, field winding, will have an inductance of its own. We call that as LF. So this is the field side or field circuit. In addition, we have here an armature circuit, or what you call as a rotor circuit. You can use armature and rotor interchangeably in DC machine. In that armature, you will have a voltage induced. Remember that? You call that as induced EMF, E. And those rotor conductors or those rotor windings will have a resistance of its own. You call that as armature resistance. So the equivalent circuit of this, the rotor side, will look like this. You have an internal generated voltage. We represent this by EA. And we have a resistance. What you call as RA, armature resistance. RF, F means field resistance, LF field inductance, RA means armature resistance. EA means induced EMF in the conductors here, in the armature conductors. This EA basically is the Thevenin voltage. This is the equivalent Thevenin voltage. You know about the Thevenin equivalent circuit from the circuits course. This EA is the Thevenin equivalent voltage of all the voltage present in the armature side. So this is the Thevenin equivalent circuit of the armature, where we know we represent Thevenin equivalent circuit by the Thevenin voltage EA available at the terminals and the Thevenin equivalent resistance RA available at the terminal. This is RA. In addition, there will be a drop across the brushes, what you call as brush voltage drop. It's assumed that the brush voltage drop has been taken care of the resistance RA. That means this RA has taken care of this RA resistance value is such that this is taking care of the brush voltage drop as well. That is, this is the overall equivalent circuit of the DC machine, where we call this voltage VT as terminal voltage and we call this voltage as VF, field voltage. Fine. This is an equivalent circuit of a DC machine or of a DC motor. And how much is this internal generator voltage in a DC machine? We know this. This is constant K flux phi into speed of rotation omega. E is equivalent to K phi omega. Suppose you connect a voltage VT over here and a current IA flows over here. EA, internal generated voltage in the armature, is equivalent to a constant K flux phi speed omega. This flux is flux produced by the field windings. If I ask you what is the torque produced by this motor, how much torque does this motor produce, what's induced torque in the motor, we know that induced torque in this motor is equivalent to a constant K flux per pole phi and armature current IA. This is the armature current IA. This gives the induced torque. You can refer to the first or second lecture that we discussed in the class, where we derived this E is equal to K phi omega and tau is equal to K phi IA. We have already derived them in earlier classes. Fine. Now again back to the problem where we started. Different types of DC motors. The first one was separately excited DC motor. I already mentioned that this separately excited or this classification of motors that we mentioned is based on the way the field and armature windings are connected. The first one is known as separately excited DC motor. As the name itself suggests, this is separately excited. That is, the voltage supplied to the field winding is separately given. So this is basically the diagram of a separately excited DC motor. You are connecting a separate voltage to the field side or you are connecting a separate voltage to the armature side. This is known as separately excited DC motor. So equivalently, the circuit diagram of a DC motor, equivalent circuit that I showed here, is that of separately excited DC motor. So we can say that this is separately excited DC motor. And second one was the shunt DC motor. In shunt DC motor, what we basically do, we do not have to connect a separate voltage source over here. We do not connect a separate voltage to the field side and separate voltage to the armature. Then what we do, we basically connect the field circuit in parallel, in shunt with the armature circuit. How can we do that? Have a look here. This is armature side. This is armature resistance. Sorry, armature resistance. And to this armature resistance, you can connect in parallel the field side, where field consists of an R adjustable RF and LF. This is EA, this is RA, this is R adjustable, this is RF, this is LF, and we connect a common voltage source over here. Let's suppose this total current we call as load current IL. A part of current will go through here, what you call as IA, armature current. A part will go through here, what you call as IF, field current. The value of field current and armature current are independent of each other. Field current does not depend on armature, armature does not depend on field current. Field current depends upon the resistances in this branch, armature current depends upon the EA and RA in this branch. Fine. This is why this is known as shunt DC motor, because we have connected here the armature and field in shunt to each other, in parallel to each other. That's why we call this as shunt DC motor. There's one more type, what you call as permanent magnet DC motor. In permanent magnet DC motor, we do not use a field winding over here or field coil over here. Then how do we produce this field flux? We use a permanent magnet for field. A north pole permanent magnet and a south pole over here. These are permanent magnets. And armature is normally as it is. This is known as permanent magnet DC motor. There's one more type, what you call as series DC motor. We'll study all of them one by one in detail. We have one more, what you call as series DC motor. As the name itself suggests, in series DC motor, in shunt DC motor, we connected the field in shunt with the armature. Then in series DC motor, we will connect field in series with the armature. So this will look like. This will look like EA RA. This is the armature part. In series with it, LF, RF. We can have R adjustable as well. You connect VT over here. That means this field winding and this armature winding These two windings are in series. Same current flows through the field winding, same through the armature winding, and back to the field winding. Fine. This is series DC motor. And finally, we have the fifth one, that is compound DC motor. In compound DC motor, what we basically do, we have two windings in a compound DC motor, two field windings. A part of field winding is connected in series with the armature, and a part is connected in shunt with the armature. In a compound DC motor, we have two field windings. One field winding is connected in shunt and another is connected in series. I'll draw it here because we have to study it in detail. Compound DC motor. In compound DC motor, you have an armature over here, EA, resistance RA, LF, RF. This is VT. You call this RSLS. Field winding which is connected in series. RFLF. Field winding which is connected in shunt. Field winding connected in series and another part of field winding connected in shunt. So this is called as compound DC motor, where you have a part connected in series, you have a part connected in shunt. Why do you connect a part in series? Why do you connect a part in shunt? How does this differ from this? How does this differ from this? How does this differ from this? We'll come to those in next few lectures. In next lecture, we'll start with separately excited DC motor and shunt DC motor. We'll show in next lecture that a separately excited DC motor and a shunt DC motor are basically the same. The characteristics of a shunt DC motor are exactly same as the characteristics of separately excited DC motor if this terminal voltage is assumed constant, which in most cases is assumed constant unless specified. So we'll discuss separately excited DC motor and shunt DC motor together in next lecture. Thank you.